laugh challenge starts now.
Go.
I used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around.
That was a tough one.
It's a goodie.
Did you hear President Biden went to the hospital today? Yeah, he's really sick. He couldn't stop Putin.
That's pretty solid. I like that. Yeah, that's tough. Why didn't Han Solo enjoy his steak dinner? It was chewy.
Mm. Mm. What does a horny frog say? Rub it.
Nice. Whew. What do you call a hippie's wife?
What?
Mississippi.
Okay. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Beth.
I don't even know what you said.
Beth.
Oh, Beth who?
I didn't sneeze.
Yeah, that's weak.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You know, when I was a kid, my mom told me that when I grew up, I could be anybody I wanted to be. Turns out that identity theft is a crime.
Mm. What's the difference between sand and menstruation blood? And I think that's the word. You can't gargle sand.
It's pretty gross. What's the difference between a pizza man and a gynecologist?
What's that?
They can both smell it, but neither one of them can eat it.
You know, my dick was in the Guinness Book of World Records. Then the librarian told me to take it out. Oh, I thought that one was going to get you.
Oh, that one's good. Oh, man. Yep. So if you see a robbery at an Apple store, does that make you an eyewitness?
Mm.
That one's bad.
What did the toaster say to the slice of bread? I want you inside me.
Yep, that one. I got that. Okay. Let's see. What's the difference between pussy and mashed potatoes? Mashed potatoes can't make its own gravy.
Mm. Mm. What? What's the difference between kinky and perverted? Kinky is when you tickle your girlfriend with a feather. Perverted is when you use the whole bird. Fuck!
Yeah, I got one that was gonna get you anyway. What do you call the sweat on your father's balls after he had sex with your cousin? It's relative humidity.
Fuck!
Well,
You win this round.
That was fun.
You win this round. I will come back with vengeance. Oh my God.
That was gross.
God, that could have gone so much different.
Oh yeah, no, that was interesting. Super weird, but interesting.
You know
What
what's
you been up
weird?
to, man?
You know what's weird? For some reason, the internet, I don't know if you've been on it before, but
No, never.
there are people that experiment at home with food and drinks and create different
Like
crossovers.
fusion? Yeah,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Like fusion shit?
Yeah, I guess
Okay.
if you want to call it that. I'm going to list off a few, and I need you to tell me if you would try it or not. And depending on the outcome, we may actually do this next time we're live together.
Okay.
Are you a fan of cinnamon rolls?
100%.
Are you a fan of chili?
Yes.
Would you do cinnamon rolls with chili?
I mean, probably.
I feel like that would have a good sweetness to heat ratio, maybe.
The cinnamon throws me off a little bit, but
Right.
I'm still into it.
Honey and fried chicken.
Um Full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of honey,
Mm.
but yeah, I would try it. It
I, I've
sounds to me it sounds good.
I've been to a couple of places to where they give you little packets of honey with your fried chicken, and I've never tried it. And I always wondered. I always thought it was for the biscuit.
I was gonna say I was under the impression that honey would be for your biscuit.
Right.
I think that's where the honey butter biscuit came from at Whataburger.
Oreos and sour cream.
No, that sounds awful. Not for me.
An orange, the halos.
Oh yeah, like the little ones. Yeah.
Yeah. With Miracle Whip.
So mayonnaise is an abomination. I will not eat that.
Well, Miracle Whip's a salad dressing, so or
Yeah,
it's a
but
dressing.
it's like mayonnaise, right?
I love it.
That makes sense.
Fuck you.
Yeah, no, I'm just not a big fan of mayonnaise or Miracle Whip or salad dressing or whatever the fuck.
What two foods that are nothing alike do you think should be together? Have you done any concoctions of your own?
Well, so I've put ketchup on tamales, which I found out is blasphemy in the South.
Wow.
It's really good.
And we're getting canceled.
I've put ketchup on eggs. Well, let's just say I put ketchup pretty much on everything. I'm trying to think. Like I put chips on my sandwich, but I don't think that's like that uncommon. I think that's a pretty
that's just like
normal
putting
thing.
French fries on your burger.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do the whole frosty with French fries. I don't do that. That's stupid. I don't know. Not. I mean, I just eat stuff and it just mixes anyway. So
Yeah.
I'm not like there are some people that they put stuff on their plate and like it can't touch, and if it touches, they can't eat it. Fuck all that. I mix it all together. I don't even care. So I don't know, man.
Those y'all listening, if you've got some food combos that you want us to try or bring up and talk about, comment below, tag us, whatever. Let us know how it is. Man, last episode we kicked off season 2. Life, work, all that fun shit has gotten in the way as usual, but we're here. We've got some stuff to talk about. Sports world has still been going on. A lot of good NFL stuff going on. We've got USFL kicking off soon. We've got rosters and schedules coming out today for that. Let's fucking jump right to it. You ready to do this?
Fuck yeah, let's go. Woo!
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Two Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
And here we are again, assholes, for another episode. As always, this episode is brought to you by rrsportsbetting.com. Text number 1887-BET and win, and use the code WANNABE for a free $100 in gameplay. I'm telling you right now, this can't be matched anywhere else. Every other site that you use, you have to put down a deposit, and yeah, they may match it and this and that. Why not go in risk-free right out the gate and play with the house's money? You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on our Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, everything. You're hearing it right now on this show. You really risk nothing when you're playing with their money. So why not do it? We got March Madness coming up pretty soon. Team should be announced within a day or two, I believe. It's still got games going on. women's college basketball, they're starting to decide that. NHL is going on. NBA's been super hot right now with spreads and everything going on there. So check them out and look us up for our picks throughout the week daily. We try to. One of the things that Zach and I are going to start doing here pretty soon on our next episode, we're going to be spinning the wheels of destiny to determine teams, divisions, yada, 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 as far as who we are individually going to follow and put our picks on daily. So stay tuned for that. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up for the show, not only today, but for in the future. Pro boxer / pro MMA fighter Juan Torres is going to be a guest on the show soon. So be on the lookout for that. He's got an upcoming boxing match soon, and we're going to try to interview him before that. So it'll be our first guest that we have on the show. Hopefully we can start a new trend and get many more.
Let's say season 2, breaking new ground, getting guests on. Never done that before. That ought to be, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. And plus it's MMA, so it's something I'm not very familiar with.
Well, it's going to be a boxing match on this one.
That's okay. My bad.
So I believe he holds 2 titles right now. Don't ask me what they are. I'm poor on my research right now. But I've known the guy for a couple of years. I reached out to him and he said he's willing to come on the show and interview. And so we're looking forward to hearing all that.
Cool. I'm excited.
Let's jump into NFL. We got combine going on. We got people putting out their tweets as far as who they're liking, who they're not liking. They're making fun of the kid from Ole Miss and his small hands, I think.
Yeah.
Which to me, I've never really cared about all that. You know my opinion if you listen to the show as far as the combine. I think it's a waste of time. It proves absolutely nothing except on how fast somebody can be. We're seeing some crazy 40 times right now. I could care less what you're bench pressing because last time I watched an NFL game, I didn't see somebody bench pressing 225 for how many reps. So Aaron Rodgers is back in the news as usual because of the fact he's one of the top guys in the league, back-to-back MVP. Rumors came out today that Green Bay is looking to give him a long-term deal. What that entails, I'm not sure. 3-4 year deal.
I'm under the impression that it's 2 years for $50 million a season.
That to me, I'm glad you brought that up because the first time I heard that one, I said no. Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's back-to-back MVP, does a hell of a job, great quarterback. Is he worth 2 years for $50 million each? No.
Well, so before you solidify your no, let me just preface it like this. If you were guaranteed, I know nothing's guaranteed in the NFL, but if you were guaranteed to win the Super Bowl one time, but you had to sign Aaron Rodgers to a 2-year, $100 million contract, would you do it?
Well, I mean, if it's guaranteed, yeah. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Guaranteed you're going to win one championship.
If that's the missing point to us getting one, if not back-to-back championships, yeah, I mean, go for it, right? But we've seen
that's what those teams believe. They believe that their teams are constructed where they are one player away, Aaron Rodgers, one player away from guaranteed winning the Super Bowl, one of the next 2, if not both.
So, but you look at that, you look at Green Bay. Green Bay's had him for his entire career. They're over the cap right now. And I think they're like 27, 29, 22, 27, 29. I don't remember the number I saw, million over their cap right now.
Right.
You've got the top wide receiver. You have to figure out what to do. They're supposed to possibly put the franchise tag on him tomorrow.
Well, that decision. So that's what Aaron Rodgers had said. He would make a decision before the deadline. So that way he doesn't completely hamstring Green Bay. Plus, obviously, he doesn't want to screw his guy over because clearly Devontae Adams is somebody he wants to play with. So he's going to let Green Bay know prior to tomorrow at 4 p.m.
But if you give him a $50 million a year contract, right, you're already over your cap. That limits you right there on anything else that you can do, right? Because for you to make room, you're going to have to cut people. You're going to have to trade people. You're going to have to do whatever to get that cap lower just so you can pay him for 2 years. If I'm Green Bay, it's not worth it. I think for Green Bay,
that's their only option to keep Aaron Rodgers. Their only option is to pay him an outrageous salary to where he would be stupid to turn it down.
The reports I saw today, they're looking at throwing out a 3 to 4 year deal for him. He's 38 years old. He's if Green Bay makes a 3-4 year deal, he is going to be the highest paid quarterback in the league, which I'm not doubting that. I'm not undercutting his talent. Don't get me wrong, but 38 years old, we've only seen one quarterback that exceeded over 40 that has still put up phenomenal numbers and was in the running to become MVP this year, and that was Tom Brady, right?
Right.
Is Aaron Rodgers at that level to where once he's past 40, can he still do what he does today? Right.
I mean, like we've talked about it before. I think with the way the rules have changed to where you can barely breathe on a quarterback without it being a penalty. Yeah, I think you can. You're not taking those big hits anymore. I mean, the biggest hits that he takes are when protection breaks down and he doesn't see the guy, or when he runs.
Right.
And hell, now when he runs, he's sliding so early that it doesn't even matter.
Well, and back to my point, if you put him at that high of a contract like that, what are you losing? Are you losing an O-lineman just to make space, and now you're making him more vulnerable? Are you losing on the defense because now you won't get to the Super Bowl and win? I mean, there's so many things that's going to hurt Green Bay if they sign him to this. The one thing that I've been against and didn't think it was happening, but there's been more light that's coming out on it. Denver actually looks like the front runner right now to getting Aaron Rodgers. And it was reported yesterday by Dale Lawley, not sure who he's with, but he reported that the Denver Broncos are ready to offer the 9th pick for this year, the 2nd round pick for this year, and next year's 1st round for Aaron Rodgers. To me, that's a little low.
Well, I've heard that same deal, but also including Jerry Jeudy.
See, I can kind of get behind that. If I'm Green Bay, I'm probably asking for a defensive player too. I can't think of anybody off Denver's defense like you can right now. But I would have to throw somebody on the defensive side for that as well. Green Bay is in the high 20s for draft picks this year in the 1st round. So, and they keep saying that this is a defensive year in the draft. So do they make that trade and get whatever the best available defensive player is at the 9th pick? Do they trade up? I don't know. And there's also rumors too that the Steelers are interested in Aaron Rodgers right now as well.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any reports as far as what they're possibly offering him, but him in Pittsburgh would be insane. I kind of like that. I kind of like that a lot.
I think that Pittsburgh is a few pieces removed from actually competing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think offensively they're great.
Yeah.
Offensive line probably needs a little bit of work, but I think almost everybody's does. But their defense is far off. I don't think their defense is as close as it was 3 or 4 years ago. So,
yeah.
Out of so apparently there's 4 teams in the running for Aaron Rodgers. Obviously Green Bay. I think Green Bay is the front runner because he's already there. But then Denver, Philadelphia, and Denver, Green Bay, Tennessee, and Pittsburgh. Tennessee is weird. I don't know where Tennessee came from other than he bought a house in Tennessee. But the last that we talked about Tennessee, they were signing Ryan Tannehill to a huge deal, and he was their guy, and everything was all good in Tennessee. But, I mean, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is a different type of guy. You plug in Aaron Rodgers into that team with the running game that they have. I know Derrick Henry's coming off of a foot injury. He didn't look very well in the playoffs, but they have Devontae Foreman there too, right? He looked really good. He picked up the slack. That team with him as the lead running back got the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yep.
And, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the AFC, Patrick Mahomes plays in the AFC. And every time that the NFL is talked about in the AFC, they always talk about the Kansas City Chiefs is the team that's going to be the team to beat in the AFC. Well, Tennessee did that. They were the number 1 seed in the fucking AFC, and Patrick Mahomes wasn't hurt. So Ryan Tannehill is not a bad quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers is a clear upgrade. So anyway, just the idea that these teams are the ones that are like his final destination picks. Tennessee and Pittsburgh, I think, shocked me the most, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went to Tennessee. That's a decent team. The division sucks. And, the Colts won the division, right? But the Tennessee won the division. So they're already kind of in control of that division. Their closest competition was the Colts. Mm-hmm. And they might not even have Carson Wentz next year.
And I'm surprised the Colts aren't in the running for this because I feel like you can get Aaron Rodgers over to Indy a lot easier because outside of the game, he's close friends with Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee records his show daily out of Indianapolis. True. They've got a young running game. They've got young receivers out there. They're building up a defense out there.
But I think the same thing with the Colts. I think they're even further away than Pittsburgh or Tennessee would be. Obviously, Tennessee was there, right? So
if Indy didn't lose to Jacksonville in the last game, the playoffs could have been different.
Right, but they lost to Jacksonville.
And a lot of the blame
dumpster fire that team was.
A lot of the blame came on Carson Wentz for that, right? So you put Aaron Rodgers in that team. I don't know. I do like the fact Aaron Rodgers with A.J. Brown sounds very intriguing.
Julio's still there too.
Julio's busted goods, man.
Look, he's not the number one go get it guy, but he can definitely be a solid number two possession receiver and a red zone threat. Like he reminds me, like in the latter years of his career, he is like where Plaxico Burress was at his prime. Okay. Where Plaxico Burress was like just over jumping everybody in the red zone. As long as he doesn't shoot himself in the leg, he should be fine. But I don't know. I like A.J. Brown. I think A.J. Brown is probably a top 10 wide receiver in the league, and his arrow is still pointing up.
Yep.
And then obviously I already mentioned the 1-2 punch, Derrick Henry and Devonta Foreman. I know Foreman's kind of had a shit deal, fucked up his ankle in Houston and then kind of got moved around, but he looked really good when he was healthy before he got hurt. So
a lot of Texans fans were pissed off to see him run so well because that's what he was expected to do when in Houston and didn't perform as well as he is in Tennessee.
Yeah, and there's a lot of factors that go into that.
Right.
I don't know. Like, okay, so gun to your head, where is Aaron Rodgers suiting up next year?
I don't want to believe it just to spite you, but I think Denver's the place he's going to go. And if he goes, he's going into a very tough division. He's going into the AFC, which is going to be very tough for him because he's going against higher caliber quarterbacks, in my opinion, than in the NFC. I don't know. I'm sure they've already listed the teams that Denver's playing. Of course, he's going to be playing Patrick Mahomes twice a year. He's going to go against Justin Herbert, who continues to rise, that people keep sleeping on for some reason. Derek Carr is nobody to just shoo away. Then you got to look if he's going to be playing against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Like those are two.
You're definitely going to see those names in the playoffs.
And Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like he's going into a tougher division than he has in the NFC North. So yes, everybody can refer back to Peyton Manning going over to Denver and everything he did there. Two completely guys, both outstanding in my opinion. But can Aaron Rodgers have the same success in a harder time?
Well, and you got to remember though, Peyton Manning came into the AFC West pre-Patrick Mahomes, pre-Justin Herbert.
Right.
And basically dominated the division. I think when he played for the Broncos, he played 4 seasons. I want to say that he was like 16-2 against the AFC West. So, it was just a complete domination. Nowadays, it's going to be tough. So out of the 4 teams that are considered in the running for him, Green Bay is the only one that's in the NFC. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he wants to come in to an AFC West and try to compete for a division. Like in the NFC, in the NFC North, he's going to win the division. Like, that's already done. I think in Tennessee, he's going to win the division. That's already done. But for the Steelers, yeah, you got to compete with Joe Burrow. You got to compete with Lamar Jackson. So does he want to do that? And I mean, whoever the Browns quarterback will be, you got to compete with that team, whatever. But I mean, do you want to do that? Or do you want to go to Tennessee where, you know what? I got a hell of a running game. I'm going to win the division. So I don't know. Like, if I was picking just based on personnel alone, I would pick Denver because I think they have the best defense of the teams that we're talking about.
Yep.
And they're young. So you're going to have them for your entire – because I honestly think he's only got 3 years left.
I agree.
So for those 3 years, that defense will be intact, if not get better based on draft, right? So Pittsburgh isn't even close, and Tennessee might be the closest one, but I'm not sure that they're as good as what Denver has on paper.
Right.
But Green Bay is already where he's at. He's already winning divisions there. And then on top of that, you have Lambeau Field, right? You already have one of the most hellacious home field advantages ever, right? So I don't know if that's something that he's considering, but if you put a gun to my head, I say tomorrow he signs in Green Bay.
I just don't understand why he puts himself in the situation of making a decision based off the franchise tag. Now, I know Devontae Adams has a lot to do with that, but also at the same time, he's limiting himself, right? Because now he's kind of pressuring himself into where he has to go. Let's just say that Green Bay doesn't put the tag on him and they're willing to get rid of Devontae Adams. Is Aaron going to try to follow him wherever he goes? What if he goes to Arizona, right? There's no way Arizona is trading Kyler Murray. Well, I don't know. That's another story we'll get into.
But could.
You know, it's I don't understand why he's setting a deadline like that. Now, then again, he may pull back on his word and not follow through with it, right?
He's not known for that, by the way.
Right. So I don't know. This whole situation is very weird. He put out cryptic, or what people thought were cryptic, Instagram posts where he was already announcing his leave, and what turns out he was just truly showing his appreciation for the individuals close to him in his life. So not really sure.
I think the reason why he is kind of handcuffing himself to Devontae Adams is only because he doesn't want to screw over Devontae Adams, right? So the deal is that I'm pretty sure Green Bay is going to offer. They're gonna put the tag on Devontae Adams, but they have until the deadline to do that, right? Correct. The deadline is 4 p.m. tomorrow.
Yes,
but he doesn't have to sign it.
That's true,
right? So I think the idea is he doesn't want to force Green Bay to waste their franchise tag on Devontae Adams. So if he decides, hey, I'm coming back to Green Bay, then they tag Devontae Adams. Done, everything's clean and clear, right? But if he decides, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to Tennessee, or hey, I'm going to go to Pittsburgh, then he wants to leave that door open for them to franchise whoever they want, because then Devontae Adams is not going to sign the franchise tag. He's going to test free agency, and he's going to end up signing wherever Aaron Rodgers goes.
Well, see, that's part of the reason why I'm very curious on why he's putting a deadline on it, because of the fact that free agency, right? Trades coming up. You were talking about if he stays in Green Bay, NFC North is theirs for the taking, right? Well, remember the rumors about Minnesota possibly trading for Deshaun Watson.
True.
We've mentioned it before. You put Deshaun Watson on Minnesota without him being on probation or suspension. That gives Green Bay a run for their money, right? Not seeing where a lot of free agents go before making a decision, or trades, or even the draft, I think is a bad thing for him, just because he may get stuck somewhere to where, oh shit, this and this is happening after I already signed here. I don't want to be here anymore.
Well, and on the flip side of that, it could be that he feels like he is more of a gravitational force than anything that any other team could do, right? So he feels like, well, if I sign with team A, well, that's going to make it more likely that all the free agents want to go to team A. And then on top of that, if I sign with another team pre-draft, then they can draft players around having me on that roster.
Right.
So I'm thinking that's his thought process. That he doesn't want to wait to see what direction teams are going to go. He wants to be on the team and then steer the team to that direction.
But again, though, he's kind of strong arms the teams by doing that and getting a big contract, because now you're messing with their available money and who they can bring on.
Well, right. But I mean, if he waits till after the draft, then he's either going to have to sign for less money or just go back to Green Bay where they're already offering him $50 million.
Do you think he'll take less money in Green Bay if Devontae stays?
That's a good question, because he was so adamant about it not being about money.
Right.
But then in back channels, he was like, no, it's about money. So I don't know. It's going to be hard. Like, it depends on how much less it would be, right? If they told him, hey, look, we're going to sign Devontae Adams to like a 3-year deal, and for him to stay on the roster, you can only take $41 million, right? But then Pittsburgh is like, hey, if they trade you to us, we'll sign you for $50 million tomorrow.
And at 38, with already have multiple MVPs under your belt and 1 Super Bowl win, like, what are you aiming for? Are you aiming for money? Are you aiming for more Super Bowls? Like,
I don't know.
What's his end game?
But that's what I'm saying. I've never been in that situation.
Never?
So it's I know it's hard to believe, but
wow.
Like, I don't know what. It's weird. There's a lot of different guys in the NFL that come from different backgrounds and have different mentalities, different mindsets. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the goal is, right? Like with Tom Brady, you knew what the end goal was. With Peyton Manning, you knew what the end goal was, right? Because those guys were trying to prove, hey, I can win in other places and I'm better than this and blah, 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 right? Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if he's that guy, right? Like, I don't know. Is he trying to prove that he can win the Super Bowl with another franchise and he wants to solidify his legacy, and he can say, yeah, well, I couldn't win in Green Bay because the GM wouldn't help me out and blah, blah, blah. But here with another team, nobody can stop me. I don't know. Does he want to set a single season record for most touchdown passes or most passing yards? Does he want to have multiple Super Bowls and that's it? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what his end goal is, because there's not really many records that he can reach. Like he can get one more MVP, and that would tie Peyton Manning. They would have the most all time, right? That's all he can really do. He could beat that record. He's not going to have the most Super Bowls. No. Can't do that. He could be the second quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the NFC and the AFC, right? Because Tom Brady just did that. I mean, he could be. I don't. He can't have the most passing touchdowns. He can't have the most passing yards. He can do it in a single season, but I mean, what team can do that?
If he retires today, he's automatically guaranteed first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Right. So he's already. I think at this point he's just playing to play.
Well, but I mean,
and yes,
that's why I think the money has something to do with it.
But dude, you've already made close to $500 million. Like,
right, but I mean, it doesn't hurt to make $50 million a season.
True.
But
if somebody's willing to pay it. All I know is this is him getting a high contract at such a high age is going to ruin the market from here on out.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I just wonder how it fucks up the market for quarterbacks later on.
Let's just go to imagination land for a minute, and let's just say Baker Mayfield goes fucking nuts next year, right?
Okay.
What do you think they're going to pay him? Because he's already on the fucking line right now. If he goes out and is the best quarterback in the league for the entire season, stats across the board,
so he wins MVP. Okay.
What are you paying Baker Mayfield? You're going to get a Joe Flacco situation to where you overpay for him, right? But Aaron Rodgers just got a $50 million contract, so Baker.
Well, so I think maybe you put the Aaron Rodgers contract like in a box, like it's its own thing. But you mentioned Joe Flacco. To be fair, Joe Flacco won the team a Super Bowl, and in those playoffs, he was like flirting with best playoff record by any quarterback ever, right? Like that playoff run that he did was incredible.
Right.
I want to say he had 15 touchdown passes and 2 interceptions, like some insane numbers, right? Like not even Joe Flacco numbers. But if Baker Mayfield goes off and throws for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdown passes and wins MVP, you got to pay the guy. And it sucks because it's like, oh, he's done it one time.
Right.
Yeah, but the one time was like epic season. You got to pay him because look, the reason why I say that, and I disagree with it, but the reason why I say it is because when this draft happens in April, on the 28th of April, that Thursday night, you're going to see teams reach for a quarterback. And we all agree, are there any quarterbacks that are going to be in this draft that are bona fide starters day one?
I want to say no.
You'd be right.
We've been shocked before, right?
Right, but just remember, because not too long ago, Blake Bortles was drafted in the first round. He was drafted in the top 5. Blake fucking Bortles. And he's horrible. We knew it was horrible when he came out of Central Florida.
I think he went number 1, didn't he?
See, I didn't want to say it because I don't remember. But I thought he was either number 1 or number 2.
Well, I know it's Jacksonville, so it's a good chance it was number 1.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been. But regardless, though, do you think that he was a number 1 draft pick?
No.
Like, do you think he was worth a number 1 pick?
No.
But, like, he still, he got drafted number 3.
Yes.
But he got drafted in the top 5.
True.
And going into the combine, nobody really even, I mean, you knew who he was just because he played for Central Florida, right?
Right.
And Central Florida around that time was playing pretty well, and they were on like the national radar as, going undefeated or whatever. It was like a big ordeal. But the point is, they were a really good team in college. And then on top of that, he was like 6'4", 6'5", rocket arm, decent looking guy. So everybody was all over him. And then he went to the combine and he ran well. He threw well. He measured really well. So everybody was like, this guy looks like a quarterback. He stands like a quarterback. He throws like a quarterback. He's got to be one. Let's draft him. Where is he now?
I think he's playing backup for.
He was a backup in Green Bay for a little while.
Yeah.
He was a backup in Denver for a little while. He was backup in LA for a little while. But regardless, he wasn't a quarterback. But people reach for quarterbacks because, when you look at it, Peyton Manning got hurt. The team won 13 games. Then he got hurt. They won 2 games.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck, he won 12 games. He got hurt. The team won 4 games. Right? So, I mean, this happens.
But
when
also
guys get hurt, they put so much on the quarterback's plate. You see that the quarterback is making up for all these, roster inefficiencies because the quarterback is so good. And
well, I mean, you look at what happened in Green Bay not Green Bay, in New England whenever Tom Brady went down, and
Matt Castle
comes in and shines, and what happens the next year? He gets a fat contract and is garbage.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, he went 11-5 and missed the playoffs.
So, I don't know. This draft is going to be interesting.
But that's the proof right there of why people overpay for quarterbacks. You know that if you have a good quarterback, you can almost guarantee 10 wins. It's
going to ruin the market with whatever Aaron Rodgers signs, and I guess we just have to be along for the ride to keep bitching about it because I'm not getting any of that money.
No. Hey, so speaking of money, breaking news. The Browns have placed the franchise tag on David Njoku.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they said that was an expected move, but I don't get it.
Well, I mean,
because they just paid Austin Hooper all that money when they stole him from the Atlanta Falcons.
Unless they're going to start running a double tight end system to where
they freaking need to. With that much money tied up in those two guys, and they're both supremely talented, they both need to be on the field all the time.
Well, while we're on the subject of the Browns, while back in February 22nd. Jarvis Juice Landry, for those of y'all who follow him on Twitter, came out and had some stuff to say, and it threw up a lot of red flags for people. I'm going to try to follow it because his Twitter is like shuffled around a little bit, but it starts off. Reality behind all this, I came back to play in the best shape of my life. I got hurt week 2 with a high grade MCL sprain, partial quad tear, and bone bruise, and came back way too early and ended up staying hurt the entire season. You never heard me mention anything about it. Also, my media availability didn't happen because I was focused on getting on the field as healthy as possible during the week and after games. A strategic plan was set in place to be followed. I put the ball in Cleveland's court by telling them I would like to stay, but if not, then I'm confident enough in myself to be a better, healthy me this year and moving forward to helping do my part in winning a championship elsewhere. So, to me, reading this, it sounds like he has thrown out, hey, I'm all in for y'all, but if y'all don't want me, I'm out. Right? Are you picking this up in any other way?
No, I mean that's what it sounds like. Yeah, it sounds like he sacrificed everything for the team and put his health on the line to come back and prove that he was all gung ho for and yeah, it's like, well, if you don't want me, so.
I applaud him some because he's not putting hate on Baker, which is
right,
super
seems
easy
like,
to do.
Yeah, it seems like that's the soup of the day. Everybody's in for that kind of stuff.
But he puts it on an organization as a whole. Like we all can agree, he is is an important piece for that team, right?
100%. And I think he would be he'd be a number 1 on some teams. He's a solid number 2 for almost every team across the board.
And right now he's their number 1, right?
Yeah.
So they need to make a decision on whether or not they want to keep him or what they're going to do with him. At the same time, though, saw reports today that the Browns are looking at trying to get Andy Isabella from the Cardinals in a trade.
Hey, I'm also hearing that a lot of people are pursuing Christian Kirk from the Arizona Cardinals.
We're just moving around since we're on it right now. The Arizona Cardinals are starting to look like a dumpster fire. We had
something's going on there, and I don't know what the deal is.
Earlier, we had Kyler Murray remove anything Arizona Cardinals from all his social media. Reports of him unhappy being the scapegoat for the playoff loss. So much stuff. Chandler Jones came out with a tweet last month that said, "Be a leader, not a blamer." I feel like that was a jab at Kyler, but that's also coming from a guy who almost left Arizona last year because of money situations, right?
Well, and so also I'm hearing that he will not be back next season for the Arizona Cardinals.
Arizona be fucking up right now.
Well, I think so. Yeah, on the surface, like as a fan, if you look at it and like, oh, you're not bringing back Chandler Jones. You just said last year he was like the leader of your defense. What's going on?
Right.
Well, I think behind the scenes, them not bringing back Chandler Jones, that is a vote of confidence to their quarterback. Like, hey, this guy's talking shit. Fuck him. We'll win without him. We don't need him. That's what I'm thinking.
Know. It's tough.
But Kyler Murray has come out and said that he wants a new deal done. So he's on his rookie contract, his 3rd year of his rookie contract. He has the 4th year left. And then, because he was drafted in the 1st round, there is a team option for a fifth year of his rookie contract. He wants a new contract prior to the draft. So he wants a new contract here in like 6 weeks. And it says that he's not requesting a trade currently, but it could be on the table if they don't get a contract done prior to the draft. Yeah.
Kyler, you did great this year. You looked amazing. But we're going to need you to pump the brakes. Okay.
Well, so I feel like we live in a time where we saw what happened to RG3, right? He got injured. Reports are the team kind of forced him to come back, came back too early, ruined his career. Cam Newton hurt his shoulder, reports where the team was kind of forcing him to come back early. He's never been the same since, right? Won an MVP in 2015, and he's never been the same. So now we have Kyler Murray, who hurt his ankle and his knee, I believe. The team opted to not start him and rest him to preserve him and wait till he came back 100% and rode Colt McCoy to try to keep that entire team in the playoff hunt and keep their franchise quarterback healthy. I think you're right. I think he needs to pump the brakes a little bit and stop demanding from his team that, they pony up and pay him some money. I think the only reason why he is eligible to get this kind of money is because they didn't rush him back.
Right.
I feel like if they had rushed him back and they were only concerned about winning right now, maybe he got hurt worse and now he's not even available. You know what I mean? So they had his best interest at heart at that point. He should have the team's best interest at heart at this point. But I know it's a business. I know that doesn't happen. You don't extend that type of courtesy, but being this vocal about it might be a problem.
But you also got to remember, a lot of people gave Kyler a lot of hate coming into the league because they said he was too short, he wasn't going to be able to do much and stuff like that. And of course, he's proved a lot of people wrong with the success that he's had so far. But also, he also has the option of going to baseball. He was drafted by the Oakland A's, I believe it was.
Yeah, he was drafted in the first round, number 9 overall.
So, I mean, if he's fed up and he doesn't like any of the trade offers, granted, he doesn't have a no trade clause because of a rookie contract. But, I mean, if he doesn't like something, he can always just retire and go play baseball.
He does have that option.
I don't know. It's hard for me to look at a player right now who's on a rookie contract, and unless you have come on the verge of winning or going to the Super Bowl or having an MVP season.
So like Joe Burrow?
Oh, yeah. Like Joe Burrow, I think if he continues on the trend, now granted, he just finished his second year and losing in the Super Bowl. If he continues this trend where he's a top competitor and a top 5, top 10 quarterback, there's room for negotiation there. Whereas Kyler Murray, trying to put this stronghold on a team this early in your career with only having, did they go to the playoffs in 2020? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think they were like 5-11.
So having one playoff appearance and losing in your first time in 3 years, like it's hard for me to swallow on trying to give you a
to be
good
fair,
contract.
It's the Arizona Cardinals, right? At least the Cincinnati Bengals had that streak of making the playoffs as a wild card, like 8 years in a row or something like that. So Cincinnati is a little different animal than Arizona. So I will give him that, but I think you're right. I think we've seen this act before where Russell Wilson on a rookie contract, the team was stacked. And then now he wasn't vocal. I'm not trying to compare those, but once they paid Russell Wilson, you just saw that team start to decline because they just didn't have the money to spread around anymore.
But you also look at it too, like from the rumors that we're getting as far as possible trades and free agents leaving Arizona, like the money's going to be available, but they also have a lot of old hands on there too. Saw a report this morning that they're talking about bringing back AJ Green to the team, which I understand because, I mean, you need a body, but I mean, you got JJ Watt in football age. He's old and he's beat up. We're starting to see wear and tear on DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep.
James Conner had a good season this past year with Arizona, and he's looking at possibly returning there too. But also, what James Conner are we going to get? Because we saw that in Pittsburgh where he had one good season, and then he kind of fell off a little bit as years progressed, right? Yeah. So, I don't know. It's hard. I'm going to say if y'all can't come to money terms, go ahead and get the best deals y'all can, because I guarantee you there's some dumb owners out there and GMs that are going to throw stupid trade picks and stupid players and money to get Kyler Murray and regret it later, right?
Oh, no, I agree. Like I said, these GMs and these teams, they fall in love with quarterbacks and they realize having a good quarterback is better than having a good almost anything else. So you're right. I mean, there have been several trade offers for several different quarterbacks this offseason. I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson were in the news. Kyler Murray's been in the news a little bit. One trade that you probably maybe didn't hear about. Did you know that there was a trade offer put in for Patrick Mahomes?
No.
What team would you think put in an offer for Patrick Mahomes?
Tampa Bay.
No, it was the Washington Commanders.
The commies?
Dude, if there was ever a time to shoot your shot and go for the hottest girl at the party, the Commanders did it, man. They said the story was they offered multiple first round picks for Patrick Mahomes, and apparently the Kansas City front office, they treated it as a prank phone call. They didn't think they were serious, but I don't know. Like, so I know, like, I'm poking fun at the Commanders and whatever, but I think this shows how aggressive that front office is. Like, why not, man? You're not going to know what they really think unless you ask.
So
Give it a shot, man.
The Commanders are in the news a lot right now because, like you mentioned, they're trying to get Patrick Mahomes. They're now on the table for trying to get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and I hear they've actually made a very serious offer to Seattle for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, so
Seattle actually turned down their first offer that had multiple first-round picks.
The Commanders are doing everything they can because they, like you've said many times, they feel like that they're a quarterback away from being a winning team.
That defense, the front seven of that defense is fucking phenomenal.
But see, that's the problem. A lot of those trades, I guarantee you, have Chase Young in them because they opened up the offseason with saying that they are open to trade Chase Young, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think based on what we've seen in the NFL, that people like Chase Young, people that play that position, they're not necessarily a foundation piece. They're more of a like icing type piece. So, I mean, they'll win you a Super Bowl, but they can't win you a Super Bowl on your own. You've got to have other pieces in place, and then that's like the crowning piece on top that gives you the ring.
Well, you also look at it. Washington, I want to say, other than last year, their first 5 picks this previous drafts were all defensive line or defensive players, and all of them were studs too.
Yeah, they've done really well drafting defensively. That is 100% sure.
With Deshaun Watson, Carolina has resurfaced again as a potential team to trade for him, and again resurfacing. Philadelphia has sent investigators to Houston to look into the Deshaun Watson case and talk to his lawyer. We're supposed to be hearing about a hearing with Deshaun Watson sometime at the beginning of April, to where he's finally going to speak to the accusing lawyer or the accusing women's lawyer.
Okay.
I can't even think of the terms right now. But so more and more teams are opening up for Deshaun Watson. We've heard rumors of Jimmy G being traded throughout the whole time. He's having shoulder surgery or elbow surgery.
Shoulder, yeah.
So wonder if that's having any effect on his trade value. Since we're on Jimmy G and they're talking about trading him, let's just go ahead and throw the whole theory of Tom Brady going to San Francisco out the window because I don't see that happening. Do you see Trey Lance just being their starter day one, or do they go ahead and trade for another quarterback?
I think he has to be. I think as much draft capital as they gave up to get into that spot to draft him, he's the guy. And I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, what if Jimmy G wins the Super Bowl? Blah, blah, blah. I think even if the 49ers had won the Super Bowl, Jimmy G would still be out and Trey Lance would still be your guy. If you remember, they won a playoff game and Garoppolo threw 4 passes. Is that right? Yeah. So, I mean, you really don't need the guy. So I'm thinking he's going to go to a team like Houston, or he's going to go to a team like Jacksonville, or he's going to go to a team like to actually start. I guess he could start in Tampa Bay. I don't know. I don't think Washington really wants to reach out for a guy like that. But he won't be traded for, I don't think, until after the draft. I think a lot of teams that either miss out on a quarterback in the draft, really, actually, now that I say that out loud, I think a team that drafts a quarterback in the first round this year would be a team that would trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, because I don't think he's going to command a high amount of value. The market seems very thin for him because he's not like your top notch, he's not an Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray type guy. He's a serviceable backup for a guy that you're trying to groom, or he is a guy who comes in and is a stopgap until you can draft a quarterback next season. I think the draft cap or the draft stock next year for quarterbacks is a lot higher. And so, if you can get a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo for 3 seasons and then draft your guy next year and he plays under Jimmy Garoppolo, he learns how to be a professional while there's no pressure on him. So I don't know. Tampa Bay makes sense. Carolina makes sense.
I can see him in New Orleans.
New Orleans makes sense because they're over the cap, right? I don't know if they're going to re-sign Jameis. I don't know how that whole contract works with Taysom Hill. I don't know about all that part.
I've seen reports of them trying to get Teddy Bridgewater back.
I've heard that too. Teddy Bridgewater is a free agent. I've heard rumors that somewhere in the GM world of the Broncos, he's actually considering re-signing Teddy Bridgewater. But the problem is Bridgewater's asking for like $42 million a season or some insane, unrealistic number. So I don't know. I don't know. But if I had a pick, if I'm picking between Teddy Bridgewater and Jimmy Garoppolo, I hate Jimmy Garoppolo, but I'm probably going to pick Jimmy Garoppolo. I can't stand the guy, but I feel like he would be the guy I would pick.
So we've got to move on with more quarterback talk. A while back on our Facebook page, I put up a picture of 3 quarterbacks.
Okay.
And asked, which of these 3 do you feel would become the next starting quarterback for a new team? And the picks were Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, and Trubisky. Okay. There have already been rumors going out that multiple teams have been looking at Mitchell Trubisky and are looking to make him a starting quarterback for their team and offering him somewhere around a $12 million contract a year.
Like a proven
which
deal.
To me, I think is a good, safe deal.
Yeah.
But out of those 3, who do you see being a starter next season?
I mean, I could see it where all 3 of them are starters. It just depends on the franchise, right? If you're New Orleans, right, you probably want Jameis because he's already familiar with your system. He was your quarterback for most of the year last year.
New head coach.
Yeah, but if you're a new head coach, though, are you drafting one of these quarterbacks? I don't think so.
No.
Especially not when your team is so far over the cap. So I could see Jameis starting there. Trubisky, obviously he's not going to stay in Buffalo forever because he wants to play. And Josh Allen is clearly the dude. So I could see – so Carolina needs a quarterback. I think that's just a given. And I'm going to continue to say there are teams that are going to reach for quarterbacks in this draft. I just don't think that any of these quarterbacks are any good. But Carolina could draft a quarterback and they could sign Mitchell Trubisky to a cheap deal. And then they could have those 2 guys battle it out in camp. I mean, we've seen that before where like Seattle a long time ago, they drafted Russell Wilson, but they also signed Matt Flynn to a contract, and then they let it be an open competition. Russell Wilson beat him out, and the rest is history. So, and Russell Wilson was not somebody that was drafted in the first round. So it can happen, right? You could draft one of these quarterbacks in the first round, have them come in and compete with Mitchell Trubisky, and just have the best guy win.
So out of those 3, do you see Trubisky being the best of the 3?
I mean, no, I lean towards Jameis Winston being the best one of the 3.
Wow.
But I say that because I've seen him throw for 4,500 yards and 30 touchdowns. Clearly, he had 30 interceptions. To go, but my point is, though, is that he can do it, right? He has that ability. The decision making is something that you can coach, right? Now, the other part, throwing for 4,500 yards, kind of hard to coach that.
Right.
But coaching, hey, you know what? This guy's not open. We're not going to do this. We're going to read these defenses better. That's coachable. You put him with the right quarterbacks coach, he could do it. So talent-wise, I think talent-wise, Jameis Winston is better than the other 2. But if you're asking me, let's just use Carolina as the example because they clearly don't have a quarterback. Or okay, no, let's look at Denver. Denver doesn't have a quarterback, right? Drew Lock right now is their only quarterback on the roster besides Brett Rippon, and I don't think they're going to let him start. So let's scrub all the quarterbacks, and you only can have these three play for that team. I'm going to pick Marcus Mariota. So, and I pick Marcus Mariota because I feel like he's mobile in the pocket. I feel like he has a strong enough arm, but he's also supremely talented with the football in his hands. And I feel like that's a team that would allow him to be himself, but then also surrounds him with playmakers. So we've talked about it in great detail, but the wide receivers there are really good from number 1 to number 4, right? Noah Fant is a top 10 tight end in the league. And then you have Javonte Williams, who made more people miss in the league last year than any other running back.
Yep.
So that and the GM has made it pretty clear that he's going to try to re-sign Melvin Gordon. So I think the offense is stacked. We know where the defense is. The defense only got better down the stretch. That's a really good team. So I feel like with all three of those guys being an option, I would pick Marcus Mariota because he's smart with the football. He maneuvers himself in the pocket, and he can make things happen with his feet. So to me, it depends on the franchise, but all three of those guys clearly can start in the NFL.
I will agree with you. I think Marcus Mariota is, for me, the one that stands out the most. And I'm looking at the team list right now on who needs quarterbacks. And one that sticks out to me to where I think Marcus Mariota would be a good fit is Pittsburgh. I think you put them in Pittsburgh. They're not winning the division or winning Super Bowls, but I think he benefits the team more than Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins.
I think in Pittsburgh, Marcus Mariota could play like Mark Sanchez played with the Jets when they were good. He can come in. He can kind of solidify the offense. They want to run the ball anyway in Pittsburgh.
Right.
He is a good quarterback to want to commit to the run. I feel like Jameis wants to throw it a lot. Pittsburgh is not a team that likes to throw it a lot.
Right.
New Orleans, I think, is a team that likes to throw it a lot. Carolina is hit or miss. I mean, I think they want to run a balanced attack, especially if they have a healthy Christian McCaffrey. They want to run the ball probably more. I think Trubisky could do well in Carolina.
Carolina or Washington, I think Trubisky would be okay in.
I think he would burn down a lot of competition in Washington. If Mitchell Trubisky became the starting quarterback in Washington, it would revitalize his entire career.
You're not wrong.
I think he would challenge the Cowboys for that division because that team is that good.
Him and Scary Terry, and if you can get Trubisky for cheap and not lose Chase Young,
I think that's the plan, right? You don't want to lose anything, and you want to improve the quarterback position, and I think Mitchell Trubisky does that. Yeah. I mean, Mariota would be good there too. In Washington, I don't think that's a fit for Jameis because I still think Jameis wants to throw it. If you put Jameis Winston in Indianapolis, I think that's a winning team.
Yeah, well, that brings in another quarterback on hand is Carson Wentz. Real quick, where do you think he ends up?
I think he ends up as a backup somewhere.
Could you see him be a backup in San Francisco?
No.
Okay, what about Chargers?
Yeah, he could be a backup there. He could be a backup for Kansas City. He could be a backup. He needs to be a backup though for somewhere that's like completely established.
New England.
I don't know if you would want to go there, but I mean, yeah, he could be. I'm trying to think like where.
That'd be crazy if he did go to San Francisco, and then it's two former North Dakota State quarterbacks together.
And he's behind the guy he used to start over.
Right.
That would be weird.
Miami.
He could come to Houston.
Houston's dumb enough to make him a starter.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like he could start in Houston. There's nobody else here.
I don't know. The way Lovie Smith has been talking about how much he admires Davis Mills, I
He
feel
has
like
to.
they're set for him to be the starter this entire season.
But I think he has to. I think Lovey is a guy who doesn't like to rock the boat. He doesn't want to stir the pot. He's going to stand behind his guys. You know, I think his back's against the wall there. He just knows that he can't say anything bad about Davis Mills because that's the guy.
Yeah.
So, I
Uh,
mean, but is Carson Wentz an upgrade over Davis Mills? Yeah, I think so. But is he somebody that you have to worry about? You know, he's going to come in and light the world on fire? No, because the franchise is just that bad.
yep.
So, is he good enough to show that you're trying for a while? Yeah, I think he's okay there.
Yeah, but they have to put on the mirage that they're trying when in fact they're trying to continue to get number one picks,
But
right?
and it hasn't helped them in the least.
Well, I mean, you look at some of their first rounds, they had some good ones. Andre Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, JJ Watt are just three right out the gate. Deshaun Watson for the
Right,
moment.
but with all of those guys, how many championships they got?
Goose egg.
Right.
I can tell you they got plenty of wild card banners hanging up in the
Right, but they haven't
NRG.
even made it to the AFC Championship game. Right?
It's
Like
true.
that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, okay, they've had some individual success, and those guys clearly are studs. Like, I don't know if Andre Johnson is a Hall of Famer. I don't know. I don't want to argue about that, but obviously he was the best wide receiver that the Texans ever had. DeAndre Hopkins is right up there. JJ Watt is a Hall of Famer. So I mean, those guys clearly are individually great, but as a team, they just didn't do anything with those guys.
Right.
So, you know, yeah, drafting those guys is successful, but you didn't do anything around them, and it's just you wasted those guys' careers.
Well, new GM for I say new GM, it's second year, so
Yeah,
we will see. We have a lot of football stuff that's coming up. I can't wait. Like you said, franchise tag deadline is tomorrow at 4 p.m. We got the draft coming up. Mentioned it earlier. We got the USFL starting up in April, so football is going to continue on. Um, we're going to have a lot to talk about. And if there's something we missed that y'all want to talk about, make sure you comment below, uh, DM us, mention us on Facebook, whatever, tag us to it, and we'll try to get to it.
I'm reading a report right now saying that the Rams could pay Matthew Stafford $45 million per year.
Oh,
I mean, he won the Super Bowl. They traded for him. They gave up all those picks. They won the Super Bowl. They got to stick with their guy, I guess.
well, we
Yeah,
shall see.
next show, we need to hit on this baseball debacle that makes absolutely no fucking sense to me.
Absolutely. What's the day counter on? What are we on? Day.
Day 100, 100 of the lockout.
I was at my kid's baseball practice the other day, and I heard somebody swing a wooden bat, and I instantly got hard just because I was like, "Oh fuck, baseball!"
Dude, I know,
And
right? Like, it's weird. Like, it's my kids. I love my kids to death, but tonight is the first legitimate baseball game for our little team, and it makes me mad that this is the only baseball that I can watch. Look, and like I said, I love my kids and I want to support everything they do, but watching 9U baseball is not Major League Baseball. I'm really missing it,
you can
guys.
watch college ball.
Yeah, college is okay. I think there's too many pompous assholes in college. I mean, not to say that there's not in Major League Baseball, but I don't know, man. Just the cockiness in college baseball is just really weird. So I don't know, but yeah, I guess I can watch that. I prefer Major League Baseball over college baseball. I don't like the aluminum bats as much.
I understand. I'm with you on that.
Well, the next time you sign up for your colonoscopy, make sure to mention to them that you want to be athletes talk sports playing in the loudspeaker while they're rooting around in your ass.
Well, the next time that you're at a funeral of a long lost, forgotten friend, and they decide to put her in a crop top, and you're trying to squeeze her dead melons, whisper over to some of them pallbearers and be like, "Hey, do you want to be athletes talk sports? Hit them up." I don't know where the fuck I was going with that.
Yeah, I was like, you're gonna grope a dead girl? What the fuck?
Hey, people have done weirder shit.
This is true.
Guys, we appreciate each and every one of y'all for listening, tuning in, and following us. Don't forget to like and share this episode. As always, this is 2 Wannabe Athletes Talk Sports. I'm Ed.
I'm Zach.
We'll see you next time, assholes.
Always a go.